delegates to Mitt Romney's 655. Paul, though, is still in it. Maybe not to win the GOP presidential nomination, but to spread the Ron Paul message. Tonight's stop, UCLA. Christina Gonzalez is there.
They are getting out of the Strauss Center. You might be able to see it is a huge crowd. They actually had to move it to the Strauss Center because the crowd got so enormous, between 6,000 and 7,000 people. Here's some of the few things that Ron Paul had to say.
And the problem boils down to about one thing. Government is way too big. Look, it's time to change our foreign policy. Why don't we look at the Constitution? There's no authority for us to occupy other nations and tell them what to do. So we shouldn't be in the business of occupying. My real position on income tax is repeal the 16th Amendment so you don't have to pay so much to the government.
And you can hear they loved it. The stadium's capacity is about 6,000 people, but they had an overflow crowd. Considering a lot of them were not from UCLA, they were hanging on the trees. They were trying to see if they could get a peek at this whole thing. Coming from all over, here's what they had to say. Of all the things you hear from him, what do you like the most?
Everything he says, from bringing the troops home to his foreign policy.
He wants to basically stay out of Iran. He acknowledges that it's a sovereign nation.
The Federal Reserve wants to print more money and buy 61% of the U.S. debt. This is a snake like eating its tail, and this is perpetual doom and gloom for Americans.
He's been saying the same thing for years, for decades, so I know that he's not going to say one thing and then turn his back when the right person pays him.
Peace, that our government isn't going country to country bombing for some oil cartel like Halliburton.
You get the drift on that. Now the crowd, as I said, between 6,000 7,000 people, and you notice how varied it is. The kids, it's more than students, definitely. Some of the people telling me they came from as far as San Diego. And of course the effort is to try to get people to register for the primary as Republicans, because then they can get Ron Paul in. So that is the message that they're giving out here. Overall, a great reaction, a huge crowd. They were very happy. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Christina, before he went to UCLA, Congressman Paul visited the Fox 11 newsroom, and I had the opportunity to speak with him one-on-one, and when it came down to President Barack Obama and the Supreme Court, well, some were saying the president was acting more like a king.
Well, yeah, I think so, but we've had that trend going on for a long time. I mean, how many presidents have gone to war without a declaration? So this is serious, but for what he's doing now is, lecturing in the Supreme Court is minor compared to a president going to war without a declaration. Or a couple months ago, the Congress didn't respond with some law for environment. He says, that's okay, I'll write the executive order. Well, he's not allowed to write executive orders. Presidents aren't allowed to signing statements saying, well, I'm going to obey this part but not this part, and the whole system has challenged the Constitution. So this is just part of it, but I know it's gotten more attention for political reasons, but that to me is even more minor than when a president or the Secretary of Defense gets on. He says, we don't even have to ask Congress about going to war. We'll get our directions from the United Nations. That's more than I can handle.